Coming up on iPads in the Classroom, we're talking about reading fluency. Hi, my name is Guy Trainin, and this is iPads in the Classroom from TechEdge, and today I want to talk about reading fluency. Reading fluency is one of those areas where in elementary and sometimes into middle school, we are truly concerned with that as part of the whole package of reading. This is in no way the panacea of reading, but it is an important component to make sure that students, especially those who struggle, are actually fluent and automatic when they read. And to get there, we need a few things. One is we need good assessment to monitor your students' progress. And the second thing is we need to make sure that there's a lot of practice. So I'll talk about a few apps that would really help you do both the assessment and the practice. And the first thing I want to talk about is something you can use in your classroom to monitor reading time, or can be used in conjunction with the things kids do at home. And the idea is what we really want kids to do to improve their fluency is to practice a lot, reading independently or with a little bit of feedback. And one way to do that is with an app called Reading Timer from Scholastic. And I'll just turn that on, and you can identify yourself, and you can have multiple students register there. And then you can say, okay, I'm ready to read. The minute you start reading, you just start the stopwatch, and while it is going, you read, and the idea is the minute you stop reading, you turn that off. If you do that over a long period of time, obviously you'll have a lot of reading time, which is one of the things that we're looking for. More than that, kids at this age often do not have a very good idea about time, and time really is a little bit different when you're focusing on reading. And you can actually define how many minutes you would like to read for. Let's say, for our purpose, we'll say, one. After you set the amount of time you want to read, you start the stopwatch, and then it will take the allotted time. In this case, we set it at 1 minute just for a demonstration. Obviously, for kids, we usually want between 10 and 20 minutes at a time, at least at the elementary grades. As kids get older, they can take longer periods of time. And we actually talk quite a bit about stamina, which is the ability to sustain reading and comprehension over longer periods of time. So that's something to think about as well. So when the allotted time is actually done, you get a message, time's up, and what would you like to do? And you can keep on reading and get some more reading time done, or you can log minutes. In this case, we'll log minutes, and that will show us how many minutes we had over the last week. And this is the week we shot. And then, and that will allow you to see how much work was done. And then you can look at your profile, and your profile will report how many minutes you read last week, how many minutes you read this week, and how many minutes you have in total. There's another app that does this. It's called ReadTrack Lite, and I will show it briefly. I'm not going to go too much into it. Reading Tracker Lite allows you to see reading records. If you're a teacher and you set up a classroom, you can see reading records for all of your students. And you can also export these. So these add more to that idea of logging minutes of reading, whether in the class or at home. And there's a parent setting and a teacher setting as well. But really, the next thing I want to talk about are a series of apps from the same company. And the first one is Running Records Calculator, or RR Calculator Lite. And this is a basic way to log in and look at fluency scores. And they're not just how many words per minute, but actually calculating the rest of things that we want to know: how many words were read, how many errors, how many self-corrections happened, and then the ratio of self-corrections to errors. All are things, important features of reading fluency we're interested in. So we can actually enter the number of words, let's say 789, the number of errors was 41, and number of corrections was 15. And you can see that we automatically get accuracy, the self-correction ratio, and the self-correct count, all the basic information that we need to calculate things around fluency. But this is the basic app. It's free, and it's great if you're just doing basic calculation. However, the more advanced app, which does cost, but it gives you a lot for that, is an app that actually allows you to do more, a lot more than you did before. So you enter the word count. Let's enter our 769 from before, and then you can actually start recording the students. So this is something I've done before. Let's correct this to something more reasonable. Let's say 56 words. So reset. And you can start. And right now you are in reading mode. So this is something you will use as the student is reading. Every time there's an error, you flag that error. And if it's self-corrected, you click the self-correct, so that aspect is right there in there. Let's flag another error and self-correct, and let's do done. What do you get? Well, if you enter the word count, let's say we had 26 words, you will automatically get word correct per minute, or word per minute. You'll get the time, you'll get the self-correction to error ratio, 1:1, and you'll get overall accuracy, which is 100% because it was all self-corrected. But on top of that, you will get the recording of the student reading. In this case, it'll be my voice. And you can listen to it just using that. And the other thing you get is the ability to jump, because every time I marked an error, even if it was self-corrected, you get that little line. So it'll actually jump in the text. So let's listen. And right now, you will use, as the student is corrected, you click the self-correct. So that it jumps to that error, but wait, there's more. And the more is, this company decided to add one more aspect to this. And there is Levelbook, and I'll show you Levelbook Lite. And the great thing about Levelbook Lite is it has all the features that we just described in the two other apps. And it's got all the features of the full Levelbook app, but it's restricted to 10 students only. So obviously most of us have more than 10 students. It might be worth investing in the full program, but to try it out, you don't have to do that. And this one does the same aspects as we did before, but it allows you to enter names of students into this pool, so you can actually create the list of all your students in your classroom, or if you're doing interventions in that intervention group, you've got room to mark their levels. And actually, in level books also say what is the text they read, so you can add a layer of notes and everything else, and it saves it over time, so you can actually track the reading over time. Before we finish for today, I want to show you one more app, and that's an app that allows you to have kids practice texts, not just do assessment. And this is called the 1 Minute Reader. This is from Reading Naturally. This is a great app. So let's take a book. Let's take this level, and it's got already my name on there. And you can see there are more books available, but in this app that is free, there's only one you can try, and that's Winter Water.
Tap the blue words to learn what they mean.
And you can see that there's a sequence here.
As the story is read to you.
You start with a cold read, then read along, it reads to you and you read with it, then reading alone, and eventually a quick quiz that looks at comprehension, and you get points, or the student gets points, as they go through the procedure. So there's a procedure that involves 3 reads, which is a highly recommended practice. There is a focus on comprehension, and if you will look here, you also have a focus on vocabulary.
Melt.
And if you
means to change from something solid or hard into something that pours easily, like water. It is so hot today that our ice cream will melt if we bring it outside.
So there's a layer of vocabulary as well, and you get points for doing that. So if kids are motivated, and we know they are, by points, they will look up some of the words and they will make sure that they understand. And that's a great layer that underscores it all. So it's a great way to focus on fluency practice. Again, expensive, you might want to consider it, but trying it out is free and you can see if it's something worth your while in your classroom. So today, we spoke about reading fluency and the different apps that can help you do your reading fluency, and we'll see you next time on iPads in the classroom.